welcome to the stream. So today we're going to play some Kaiserreich, and we're going to be playing as Russia. Specifically, we're playing as the Socialist Russians, which we saw in our last campaign. We played as Australasia, and it's been a while, I think, since we last played as Russia. So, you know, why not jump back in? Because we have not played as this specific Russia quite yet. We played as the Soviet Union when that was still in the game, but I think that was like last January, maybe. Like, it was a while ago. It was almost a year ago. Actually, it might have been over a year ago at this point. But anyways, we're playing as Russia. So in order for us to form the Socialist Republic, we need to elect the leftist council. They'll get overthrown by Kornilov, and then a civil war will break out, which we should win. Hopefully. I mean, we shouldn't have any real problems. So we're going to go for our base technologies, of course. All started. We already started off. Oh, we're doing pretty well here. Let's go for radio. Follow it up with the 1918 weapon production here. We are currently at 39 factories, 10, 4, and 25 military factories. We're going to basically produce those mostly in the east or in the west. This is where the socialists are going to spawn. Future. Mongolia and aggression pack seems okay. Get our army and navy experience. Beautiful. And what do we want to start off with? Well, the only thing we can really do is start off with army modernization, so let's get that going. They're not actually assigned to this army. So we have 83 divisions, mostly these basic infantry. Are they any good? They're 20 combat with. It's not bad. Definitely have seen worse. Then we have a handful of tank divisions. Let's split you up into 4 armies here, underneath 1 field marshal. I'm not too sure how these armies will kind of get spread out once the Civil War begins. So this whole setup might not really matter so much, but we'll set it up now. Okay, get rid of this. We'll assign you under this guy. You can be assigned here. The Blue Army, your job is to be on the border with the Japanese for now. Follow that up. Purple Army is going to be on the border with Lash Orda. Purple is going to be on the border with Ukraine, and why don't you be on the border with White Ruthenia for right now? That seems fine. So, a troubled history. The February Revolution put an end to centuries of Tsarist despotism, but its achievements were on the verge of being undone. In October of 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, stormed the Winter Palace and seized control of Russia, claiming the world's first revolutionary socialist state, Soviet Russia. A wide front of monarchists, Republicans, moderate socialists, and foreign interventionists rose up against it. The Bolshevik Revolution was stillborn in the September of 1918. Lenin was assassinated by Fanny Kaplan. Disgruntled left SR and a Bolshevik cause began to disintegrate. This, combined with the German supplies provided by to the white movement throughout the Civil War, meant that by 1920, the revolution was successfully suppressed. In 1922, the white generals dictated a constitution for a new Russian Republic, which, albeit democratic, was riddled with issues and did not satisfy everyone. Hopefully, he would prove to be a weakened figurehead. The whites pushed forward Alexander Kerensky, leader of the provisional government before the October coup, as the first president of the Russian Republic. Kerensky would prove to be capable, however. He survived the 1925 Kolchak Putsch and implemented a new economic policy to restore economic growth that has governed the country for the past 15 years. The lack of serious political opposition and widespread electoral manipulation has certainly helped his longevity as well. By 1936, however, President Kerensky has eroded the last of his allies in the government. The new economic policy is no longer yielding any dividends. Nationalists see him kowtow to Germans. Democrats believe that he is turning into a dictator. Socialists simply want the entire system gone. All of them share one belief, however, that Russia still has potential to assert its power in the world. And I believe we've read all of these in the past. I think last time we played as Russia, we did get these exact same events. We're going to read them again anyways. You know, it's a new series. So, signed in 1922, after the end of the Russian Civil War and 5 years after the February Revolution, the Constitution of the Russian Republic is a scar on the fractured white movement which saw its adoption. It defined Russia as a federal democratic republic, guarantees universal freedoms and rights to every citizen of the republic, and is documented by which the country's political institutions have been organized since then. In some ways, the Constitution is an updated version of the Tsarist Constitution of 1906. The upper house of the parliament, the Senate, is the main example of this authoritarian heritage. It's an unelected institution composed of senior statesmen and delegates from the upper strata, such as aristocrats, university professors, and business associations. Lower house, the State Duma, is elected and holds most of the legislative power in the country. Presently, unelected Senate curbs political process in the country, however. President is elected by the Senate, but many of his powers and duties are styled in the position of the Tsar of the 1906 Constitution. Therefore, he holds significant executive power and appoints a council of ministers with the approval of both legislative houses. The president is a primary actor in executing legislative acts and represents the Republic in foreign affairs. He also has access to the infamous Article 48 of the Constitution, which allows the president to take emergency action without the approval of the Duma. President Alexander Kerensky has grown fond of using his power to bypass the increasingly fractured legislature and thus pass decrees and laws. Drafted under the guidance of the White Generals, the Constitution can only call itself the protector of democracy when the articles are not used against it. The Russian Civil War left the economy of the Republic in a pitiful position. The conflict has devastated the country and left millions dead. Famine was breaking out in the Volga region. Anarchy reigned across much of the country. Government Alexander Kerensky had a lot of potential capital and used it to vast series of economic stimulus programs dubbed the New Economic Policy. The NEP combined financial stabilization with concessions to progressive movement. Currency was introduced, the Permanent ruble, backed by the gold standard, put an end to rampant inflation. The de facto land redistribution in the countryside was recognized, and additional land reform promulgated in order to restore the efficiency of agriculture. A restored agricultural sector allowed Russia to become an exporter and use the revenue from these exports combined with considerable American and German investment to restore industrial zones and rebuild the rail system. By the late 1920s, despite losing access to the Don Cuban Cherzom, Russia was one of the fastest growing economies on the planet with plenty of potential to spare. The economic miracle began to slow down in 1933. The Great Depression in America deprecated investments in Russia, and agricultural efficiency stopped growing due to lack of mechanization, and the gold standard was shackling finances rather than stabilizing them. By 1936, the state has entered full-on recession. Although some hold out hope for a prosperous German market to salvage Russia, the consensus is that the NEP has run its course, change of policy is needed. Should Russia recover and its economy once again become vibrant, however, untapped potential will likely turn into an industrial giant. There's some dockyards. We have 60 convoys, not really enough, so we're going to go 2 on convoys. We're going to put 2 on submarines as well. Just because I always think submarines are pretty good. And we have not enough rifles, and we're missing a handful of tanks. But this shouldn't, I think, matter too much, I would say. And Kerensky's been shot. Then a gunfire rings across the capital. Alexander Kerensky, the president of the Russian Republic, was shot and killed by an assassin. He was climbing on the steps of the Senate House. Still was shot dead by military police before he could make his escape. Those will forever be unknown. Regardless, the fate of Russia has been irrevocably changed. Very, very cool. Okay, quick sip. Also, the game was not actually paused. Very strange. Observer rights and litigation council. Here's our voice. Kerensky may have been hated by many, but it's only when he died that it became clear how much Russia needed him. The coalition between cadets and social revolutionaries had begun to dissolve immediately. Kerensky's right-hand man, Viktor Chernov, who had been usually handled the nitty-gritty of coalition building while the president acted as a public face of the party, has suddenly found his job to be a lot harder. All while the right-wing forces of the Senate and Duma coalesce and gather their forces. Their soon-to-be savior is Grand Duke Dmitry, who has all the material to be a fine president in their eyes. Chernov's only hope is that the left opposition, the Menshevik and the Radical Socialists, represented by Irkles Presley and Alexander Shilponikov, put their rallies aside and join forces with the hated SRs and the cadets. The anti-democratic forces plot in the shadows too. Peter Van Grel, Black Baron, and the Field Marshal Larry Kornilov have independently drawn up plans on stabilizing control of the state for this exact occasion. They have no reason to play ball with the parliamentarians in Moscow now that Kerensky is gone, after all. So we do want coalition of the plural left. Kornilov should, I believe, storm the capital still. The Lash Autonomy declares independence. Terrible news! Our autonomous region and Lash orders decided to use their political chaos in Russia. However, almost all their types of Russian declare independence. Very, you know, Lash Order, you can do that for now, but soon we'll come back. Okay, appointing and acting president. At the last moment, thanks to Chernov's efforts, the agreement was founded between all forces of the left of the cadets. Social revolutionaries, Menshevists, socialists, syndicalists, and numerous others all joined into a plural left coalition for the defense of the Constitution. But plenty of work needs to be done from here on out, and it can safely be said that the hardest step has been passed. The left coalition has shown itself to be unwilling to bypass constitutional term limits and elect a president for the full term. Therefore, only an acting president can be appointed until the election of 1937. Several candidates have been proposed already, delegated by parties left and right, and it's time for us to, in a time of chaos and uncertainty, however, in factions. Okay, so who do we want to elect? Let's just take a look at here and see if it makes any difference. Public survives. I think we have to put non-exist. I'm gonna take a quick look. I want to make sure that when we form this, we're not screwing myself over. Otherwise, it'll all be for naught. I think I want to here, yes. Does it matter who we elect? Get the last guy? Okay. I'm just gonna save. Just in case we need to come back to here. There we go. Get the popular front. I mean, this is the only name that's not listed in the Democracy Survives. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Take the first option, elect the unpopular guy. Well, it's too late. We've already selected him, so we'll go back if we have to. Unrest among the military. The election of Sir Palace on the position of interim president seems to have caused negative repercussions. On top of military leadership have vocally spoke out against the premiership. It is alleged that privately those generals, both vocal and quiet of the situation, have signaled that they would not intervene were the president to be deposed. The lower levels of military, there have been great unrest, reactionary agitation, and whipping up soldiers into an unruly frenzy. Okay, so the military is a little upset with us right now. They're all very upset. Sorry, you did the right thing? Okay, cool. Got the Totalist Charter. Someone's been crowned. There's a new king of Great Britain. That's a repayment of this. So that's negative 24% stability. Very cool. And austerity measures. Probably because they're... No, they haven't even had Black Monday yet. So we're at a negative 100% stability. I would say that's pretty bad. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. That's not the situation we want to find ourselves in. But okay, the anti-socialist coup. Yeah. And then we're going to do another save. Again, we're just trying to make sure everything's going okay. Despite Alexander Solopov being made interim president of Russia, the country's vast military apparatus was still dominated by the whites, who would at best distrustful of someone of his background. The same could be said of many civilian officials, as well as the masses of Russia that resent the left. When he failed to restore any semblance of order after the assassination of Kerensky, it was only a matter of time before the government fell apart. Alexander Spartakov was despised by the right from the moment he assumed office, was too much of a socialist to be considered a compromise candidate by the liberals, and was even unable to rally Russia's left due to the other paralysis of his administration. Fearing that Alexander's failing government would crumble and give way to a cynical takeover, several reactionary officers led by Levadir Kornilov have made a move to crack down at Don. Thanks to widened treachery within the army, intelligence services, and in civilian institutions, they were able to seize multiple key buildings across government buildings and strategic infrastructure, both in the capital and across the country, for loyalists could be put up any resistance. In a radio address heard from Smolensk the way to Kamchatka, Orlov declared the age of anarchy was over and the army was once more liberated Russia from the Reds. By noon, the interim government was no more. Alexander was placed under arrest, and garrisons in several major cities began rounding up prominent leftist politicians and their supporters. While many Russian conservatives, nationalists, and even some liberals were cheering on the developments, others watched in horror as Kornilov brutally destroyed any hope of political reform. No matter how Kornilov acted from here on out, few in Russia or abroad considered it to be the end of the nation's troubles. For now, though, Kornilov and his aides had to decide how Russia would be governed. While he feels confident both his ability to rule and necessity for a strong hand at such times, advisors close to him insist that he should win the hearts and minds of Russian people by restoring the Senate and announcing elections. I think we need to Maintain military rule. We want to be seen as a tyrant. We also need to make sure if this finishes, we know it's too late. I'm pretty sure if we get political stabilization, it's been too long. Kornilov affair. The news that Kornilov's forces that are Moscow sparked for repeat 1917. Broken arms for Russian democracy. Used to be dictator. Everybody understands how going political programs to control the country is specifically we lost. In some order as Alpha races and all Republican factions. I guess I'll bring in Marshal Denikin. Okay, Black Mondays now hit Germany. Is there some worker demonstrations? I'm not too sure when the Civil War is supposed to fire. I know Kornilov doesn't have an actual path. Because he never actually takes control. Oh, there we go, Russia. There we go. Revolution! After the Russian counter-revolution happened, no one expected things to calm down anytime soon. Only the most cynical pessimists could have imagined that it was a matter of weeks, Russia would be set ablaze with the fires of revolution once more. The heavy-handed approach of mass arrests and numerous summary executions had managed to push many leftists towards more radical movements. Many liberals and even some conservatives were alienated by the drastic measures taken by the army, quickly eroding the broad support that Kornilov had in the initial days of the coup. Before long, there was widespread protests in several major cities in the western region. It was only the army to stand against them. What started as a mixture of people of all stripes voicing their dislike of the Kornilov autocratic methods quickly became dominated by the radical left, and then Kornilov was too happy to use the justification to crack down even harder against them. As things spiraled out of control, the situation began to resemble that of 1917 more and more by the minute. What spiraled out of soldiers disobeying orders to attack their countrymen soon spiraled in the clash between troops and Bolshevik rioters as the most radical elements on both sides took action, when calmer heads simply seemed paralyzed by the confusion and hesitation. Days after the rioting began to sweeping western parts of the nation, Kornilov ordered a bulk of his forces to withdraw eastwards in order to regroup and prepare to fight back against the Reds. Meanwhile, in the old capital, a loose coalition of moderate socialists and various strands of Bolsheviks had seized power and formed a shaky government. As Kornilov's authority in the West evaporated, many peasants and city dwellers alike, many victims of recent repression, soon joined up with the revolutionaries. The socialist government situation is currently precarious at best. It has already started to mobilize militias and army deserters to take arms against Kornilov's expected counterattack aimed at retaking the capital from the Reds. Russia is now on an inevitable course towards another bloody civil war. Okay, so we have 48 divisions. We're going to delete all the AI's plans because I'm sure they're probably bad. We have no actual field marshal. Let's put in Bezrin. Let's put in Oshenko. And can I not? Unable to promote. There's nobody here we can actually promote, so we're not going to have a field marshal, unfortunately. But hopefully that's not a... that's not going to cripple us too much. Let's get our units ready to go. We have 4 military factories. That seems pretty bad. Okay, we're at 0 to 0, but I'm sure that's going to update in a moment. Got our Army Navy experience. And what do we want to research? Well, let's get this going. We're going to basically ignore everything the AI did. And yeah, go for radio. Units are now going to be in position. Poland's cleared of the Republic. Yeah, we'll get a non-aggression pact with the socialist nations of the West. And, like, we should be in a pretty good situation. So we have 10 to 60. We have 48. And I think you guys are just going to attack immediately. Just be as aggressive as you possibly can. And I'm not too sure why we can't promote. Why can't we not promote anybody? We need more command power. Okay, fair enough. We do have a handful of aircraft. Let's fly them all together. Combine. How many planes do they have? They have 11. There we go. So we're now in control of it here. Thank you, Italy, for the rifles. We are missing 3.1 thousand. It's not the worst. Exiles from Britain. When the British Revolution broke in 1925, many Bolshevik officers offered their service to the British and have since then have resided in the country, serving and training the Republican Army. But with their own civil war in full swing, they've returned once more and are ready to help in the fight for Red Russia. Okay, so we do get some more leaders. Any actual field marshals? Yes, we got Mikhail Frunz. And do we have anybody better than these guys? We have Ivan Konev. And Timoshenko, I think, still actually the best one here, so we'll keep you in charge. Actually, you're not Timoshenko. There you go. Put Timoshenko in here. And I doubt we can get any of these things. Yeah, they cost 15, which we don't have the points for right now. And we have a free tank division. Hell yeah. Okay, let's send you... I guess we're actually going to need another army, because we actually don't have... I guess we'll just assign you here. Assign president to the army, and I guess you're just going to spearhead towards their capital. And I did not turn off fog yet. There we go. The return of Svergensky. With the outbreak of the revolution in Russia, Marshal Tvensky and his colleagues served the International. Okay, so we get even more leaders now. And we get another free unit. So are you better than this guy? 4, 2, 2, 3. Yeah, you're just better. We'll assign you here. Again, we're going to take a look at our generals. Yeah, I think our generals seem basically fine. Is the Civil War unavoidable? If you're going to play as a socialist, yes, you have to fight the Civil War. You used to be able to avoid it, but they've changed that, a few, like a year ago-ish. I don't remember exactly when it was. You used to be able to do it peacefully, but they've since changed that. You need more units. We cannot train new special templates. Okay. Apparently I can't train anybody else right now. Oh, we actually do have more planes over here as well. Okay. Fly you together. How about a Kaiser Redux? I could not tell you about Kaiser Redux. I don't know if they're... Might be able to avoid in Kaiser Redux? I wouldn't be too surprised if you could. By the way, what's our civilian stuff doing? Building civilian factories? No, get that out of here. Build military factories in Petrograd. We do have some French volunteers. I think the British are coming over here as well. Canalage orders declared war on the Russian Republic. That's good. We might even see Transmere and Finland also begin a war against them. Are you guys on aggressive? Yes. I mean, Blue Army really hasn't actually seen any, anyone try to stop us yet. Democracy now exists in Australasia. Congratulations to them. Yeah, Lash Orda, we're going to say no to the non-aggression pacts because eventually we will want to kill you. Okay, generals join the revolution. Not just the ordinary soldiers who have chosen to defect to the revolution, dominated by white generals in the Russian Civil War, the Russian army has not been the best place for the so-called New Guard. Officers and commanders who enrolled in the Russian army after the Civil War. They were barred from numerous prestigious positions and would often struggle to advance their career. The decay of order in the country and the growth of socialism left many of them sympathizing with their cause, and now, with the Second Civil War going on, they've defected from the ranks, which their sides to their brothers in arms in Moscow. We get 6 free units, or we get a... Yeah, let's organize those urban militias. That's going to give us a handful of free units. The Kaiser Redux, you go socialist, you just lose Siberia. That's not that bad. Also, we got even more free units. Sign them all over the Purple Army now. Do we have any more free units? Not that I can tell. Also, we do not care about naval decisions. I mean, I guess we have 50 naval points. We might as well, I guess, choose one. I don't know. That takes political power. That's not what I want to do at all. Blue Army still seems good. We do see some German volunteers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Canadians are also sending units over here. Well, right now it's just Finland. But the Russian Civil War shouldn't be that difficult for us to deal with. I mean, if you're doing the Civil War, basically the socialists are guaranteed to win. Because the only reason you'd have the Civil War is if you specifically were choosing to elect the Socialist Coalition. There'd really be no other reason why you'd be doing it. Development, very cool. Don't worry about... No, don't build any of these Navy stuff. The Navy... Just get 2 on convoys. Delete these Field Creek era halls. They're hot garbage. But yeah, like we should just do fine. Parts of the Russian Navy defects. Ships that were loyal to the Ron capitalist Russian state have now joined an effort to bring out the ideals of Lenin to the remaining parts of Russia. You have a decent little navy here. 26 ships. I mean, it's not the best, but it's by no means the worst.